Okay, so now to start my scarf, I cast on my waste yarn. Now you're going to need that waste yarn because you will crochet the ends together at the end. So I'm going to leave myself a bit of a tail. I don't need that big of a tail, just a tail, okay? And I got my handy dandy table here. It's got the hole in it, so you can see my foot. It'll drop down here, and I don't have to keep rolling it up, and that'll keep the weight on it so it doesn't jump off the needles. So in this, all this table is a cheap $10 Walmart table, TV stand, TV tray, or whatever they call them, with a little hole cut out. Later on, when it gets a little bit longer, I will put something underneath it to grab it so it doesn't like roll around on the floor or whatever. So I am going to do 20 rows of this color, this purplish. I reset my row counter. And then I'll do 20 rows of the pink. So I've got my yarn sitting up here, and I'll pull it periodically so it doesn't get tangled or anything, or doesn't, and I will keep my hand on it, make sure there's no knots, because sometimes there's knots in the yarn. So let's get going. I just turn it on, and you can see it's grabbing everything. When it comes around, I am going to hold these so it doesn't drop it. I'll double check, make sure everything is on, everything's looking good. Alright, well, I'm going to get going with this, and I'll meet you back here at a color change. Okay, we're going to start this scarf. I've got 10 rows of waste yarn put on here, because remember, we are going to crochet cast this off. I've got it in the middle tension. Now you want to make sure, put it down, see it's got a clip down into there, and we want to make sure that first needle grabs it, and as you can see it did. Right now I'm just hand cranking it a little bit, make sure everything grabs, as you can see. I'll turn it on in a little bit. Now I am going to do 20 rows of this color, and then I'm going to do 20 rows of the pink. Now when it comes back around, this is where it's important. Make sure everything grabs, and it did. Now I had reset my counter, so it should be, I don't know if you can see that, it is on 1. So now we can turn this thing on. I don't want to go too fast. I want to make sure that everything is grabbing fine. I'm just holding it right now because it slipped out of the thing. So anyways, I'll meet you back here at row 20, and I'll show you how we change the yarn. Okay, so I'm at row 20. I'm going to, I cut this yarn, take it out, drop it to the middle. I'm going to grab my next yarn. Probably should have put this on the tripod. I'm going to put this in the middle. It's sticking to me. Okay, here we go. Make sure it goes all the way down into the feeder. If it's got to go all the way down into here, into this piece. because if it doesn't, it will drop stitches. So get that down into there. I am going to use my hand crank again, because we want to make sure that it grabs, and it has. Now I'll let this go around a couple of times, and then we'll tie this. Okay, so let's let it go. I'm going kind of slow because I want to make sure I grab this. I just kind of hold these on the way around so that they don't fall off. I'm going to hold them again. Make sure everything is still on there. Everything looks good. And hold it one more time. My handle fell off again. Once it gets around right here, I am going to tie a little knot. And I do not have my tripod up. So anyways, what you're going to do is you're just going to loop these through together. Just, you know, tie. Yeah, apparently I can't tie a knot one-handed. There we go. Get that loop down in there. And then we'll just tighten it up a little bit. Hang on a second. So, as you can see, I got a nut here. So I knotted it like 3 times. Now, I will go another 20 rows. And I'm going to switch back to the purple. Okay. So we're back at row 40, and it's going to be the same thing. I already cut off my pink yarn. We got the purple and the yarn feeder, and in the middle, whatever, tension, middle tension. Now, once again, I'm going to use the handle instead of turning it on, because I have that option. I just kind of want to go around that first time, and then as it gets a little closer, I want to make sure that I don't drop nothing. So I do not have my machine anchored down at the moment because, well, because I don't think it needs to be when it's on electric knitting. Just want to make sure. Yep, grabbed everything just fine. So I'm going to give these two a little tug together. So now we will start it again, and in 20 more rows I will switch back to the purple. Alright, so I need to do this for about, I believe it's 280 rows total, and then I'll show you what we do at the end. So meet me back here in 280 rows. Okay, I am at the end. I've got my 280 rows. Now, I know this is really actually for a little girl, but remember, I said I was going to make it a pocket scarf. Now, in order to be able to do the crochet bind up at the end, we do have to add our waste yarn. Now, I'm using black again. I will do 10 rows of black to give me enough waste yarn that I am comfortable with, so that I know that the scarf itself will not unravel. So 10 rows of waste yarn. I mean, you can do as many as you want. I prefer to use 10. That's just what I'm comfortable with. So yeah, I'll show you how I do the crochet part again in a little bit. Okay, now to take it off the yarn, all we got to do is let it go around a couple of times and it'll come off all by itself. You'll see. That's the first time. See, it just automatically starts falling off all by its little lonesome. Oh, it flipped off. See, this is my handy dandy little table with the hole in it. And the scarf is down there now. Now comes the time to stretch it and form it and, you know, make sure everything lines up correctly. And then we will finish the ends. Okay. Now, the reason for this waste yarn is we are going to crochet these stitches back and forth to make a nice edge. And you want to make sure that, so here's your cast on edge, and we want to make sure when we go down, we got two here, so you're just going to crochet back and forth. Now down here sometimes it gets a little hanky when it comes to stitching them in, because as you tighten, sometimes the end ones like to tighten. So I already know this is one of my end ones, so I'm just going to throw a stitch marker in here, because sometimes when you're pulling it just, you know, does weird things. And then you want to get the other last one. You don't have to do this. This is just, you know, what I do. So I am going to use a 4mm crochet hook. Okay. So basically what you're doing is, if this is in the camera, I'm going to pull up this loop. I'm going to come over here. This loop is going to go under this loop. Okay. Then I'm going to grab underneath this one. I'm going to pull it under, and I'm going to come up here, opposite side, and you want to grab just the color that you're, like for me it's the purple. Now I use black because it'll contrast really well. You use any color contrasting yarn, just so long as you can see the stitches. I'm going to come back over here, go under, up here, go under again. Trying to see if, make sure that this is in camera. Grab this one, pull it under, go up top, pull under, come back here. No, I'm grabbing from underneath because that's how I started. Oh. And sometimes the yarn splits. There we go. Again, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to grab this loop, pull it through, come back down here, grab, pull it through, on top, pull it through. Okay? So you're going to do that all the way down so that we end up with a really nice, you know, like a nice edge. I'll meet you back here when I'm at the end. Okay, so now I'm at the end. I've only got a few left, okay? Where did I leave off? All right. Grab this one. Underneath here. them. I'm going to grab under here. Take that stitch marker off. Looks like I got a little black in there with it. Just take it off. Yeah, we don't want to stitch the contrasting color into it. It makes it a little more challenging to take off. I still didn't take it off. Now I dropped the whole thing. Oh no. See, there's 4 strands. I want to make sure all 4 go back on. There we go. Get that black out of there. There we go. Pull it. And this should be the last one right here. So I'll put it on the hook without splitting the yarn. There we go. And now I'm just going to loop it through, and then here's my purple. I'm just going to loop this through here, and then we'll tighten it up. Now we have to take this black off. Not sure which one this one is. Let's see what this does. Okay, this is the one that we cast on. The one that you cast on with tends to be a little bit more tricky because everything is looped through the yarn. Excuse me. So what you do is you have your yarn up here. I hope you can see because it's black. And you find where the black, is. You pull out. We're going to pull out this first strand. So I just kind of pull it to see where the top one is. Here's the top one. And then I just hang on to that. Pull that out. Kind of spread it apart a little bit so I can see which one is the loose one. It's going to come out. Right there. And just pull it through. You can go down a little bit further. So this is the one, but I want to pinch it right here and kind of hold it and pull it through so it doesn't like tighten it up as it would in a drawstring. Okay. So you just have to find the loose yarn. It'll all be loose in a minute, but and then just hold it here, pull it all the way out until you get back to the beginning. There it is. Just gonna pull it out. It's just that very top row. I don't know if you can see here. So pull it apart a little bit. You can see your ladders. It's going to be this top one. You want to take that top one and just pull it out. And then again, you do this with your fingers, pull it apart a little bit, find the ladder, and take this top, very top one. And it'll pull right out until we get back here. Then it will just all unravel nicely. Let's see. Top ladder. Pull it up. Again. The top ladder. Oh. And pull it out. Oh. Some of the other stuff is coming now because I'm almost to the beginning. the last one. Oh. There we go. Oh shit, there's one more. This all started unraveling. It's the second row, so you want to be careful of that, because you do want to reuse your waste yarn if you can for other projects. I just keep mine in a baggie. So now we just take and I just wind it around my fingers so many times. Oops, I just got tangled here. And then I just start winding it up into a little ball. And as you see, now you can just pull it off. And you just put that one out on the other side. Just watch your other yarn so it doesn't get tangled in with it. And you just continue to pull it off until you have just the item you're working on, which this happens to be a scarf. So I'm going to take this off and I'm going to roll my yarn into a little ball so I can reuse it again another time. And once you get that done, this is what you have. You have a nice little edge. You can kind of stretch it a little bit, make sure you got all the stitches, you didn't drop any, and then this will just tie off. And I'll go around this one more time to put it in, a nice little knot, and we're going to call this end done. Now you do the exact same thing to the other edge. Okay, do the exact same thing, and then we are going to make a pocket. Now, how big am I going to make the pocket? Well, I don't know the answer to that yet. Will I make it this big, or will I go bigger? I don't know. I haven't determined that part yet. So, I'll meet you back here when I'm ready to stitch on the pocket. Okay, so now, we don't just want to go ahead and hurry up and stitch up the other side, okay? We need to make sure it lays nice and flat, that one end is not twisted. So, I wish I had a bigger area, but I don't. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, so I have my bedroom to do this in, sorry. So, I'm just going to bring this across, make sure everything is laying nice and flat until I get to the other end, because you don't want no twists in it or anything when you get to the other end to stitch up the other side, okay? Now see, as we come down here, it's a little wonky, and what you want to do is this should be on an end, so we want to make sure that our scarf ends right here, but we want it to be straight. So what I do is I get my ends together like so, and then I go down, kind of shake it out a little bit and bring it back, make sure we don't have any type of twist in the yarn, because if I would close it and it was like this, it's gonna be twisted. It's not gonna lay right. You're gonna get this twist in here like so, and we don't want that. So make sure that your ends are like so, and if nothing else, you can stand up and kind of shake it down, shake it out and stuff, make sure that everything's lying flat, and it is. So now I am ready to start this side. Now I'm just going to crochet it back and forth until I get to the end, and I'll take this off. So this is what the finished scarf looks like. You can see every 20 rows we switch pink, purple, or lilac. Everything's nice and straight. Now, part 2 will be, how did we make the pockets? Hope you enjoy this video.